capture device. In that situation is you want to head over to back to your YouTube streaming page. From there, you want to make sure that you put your title and your description, make sure that you get everything together in your meta. I synced up and make sure that everything is coming streaming. And when it's going through, it's going to say starting and then sync right here. Then once your stream is over, all you have to do is go back into OBS. And your first stream is complete. All you have to do is go back into OBS and you live stream on to the actual.
Monday.com is a team management tool that changed my life because my day used to be wasted on the marketing meeting.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Maz here, and welcome with a video for this video, and they help me get the best editing PC that will be able to handle all the encoding that streaming requires. So if you have bad internet or a bad computer, this video might not be the one for you. So for this video, we're actually definitely check that out by downloading that as well. It should be next to the best recording settings video that I made for 2019, and I should have a picture highlighting how to get to the settings from there or something when doing this, because that's going to give you the most your internet.
Check. Check. Sound check. Sound check. 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 Sound check. Sound check. 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 Sound check. Sound check.
Latin, teaching the religion Catholic, Roman.
will be opting to have this class online. So for all of those of you who are actually viewing right now through our live stream, yep, you can actually comment below if you have some questions under the chat box. All right, so welcome, and let's continue now with our lesson. Okay, so I guess last time we discussed about the historical development in the Philippine politics, and just a quick recap though with our lesson. So bago dumating yung Spanish, or before we are colonized by the Spaniards, we have already our own set of political system, and of course it was headed by the Balangay, or also known as the Duluhan, and each balangay or barangay was actually headed by a dato. The dato actually served three purposes as the executive, legislative, and the judiciary. And then lahat po ng mga batas by the time during the pre-colonial era ay wala pong written record. Why? Kasi po most of the laws that were created during that time were actually passed through oral tradition. And of course, in the Barangay Uduluhan, their form of justice will be trial by ordeal. When you say trial by ordeal, is let's just say ako yung accuser, inaakusan ko yung isang tao, and for the accused to prove his innocence, he needs to do something. And if the person was able to prove his innocence na hindi siya nasaktan, so that means that person is innocent. So moving on to the next part. Okay. Hold on lang po. Alright. I'm gonna just mute the audio para walang feedback sa inyong part. So moving on to the next part. So the system of stratification by that time were actually governed by the Maharlika, the nobility, the Timawa or the freeman, and the aliping na mamahay or the serf, or sila yung mga magsasaka na actually nagtatrabaho para sa mga dato by that time, and of course the aliping sa gigilid. And during that kind of social stratification prior to the arrival of the Spanish colonialist, makita natin na ang Pilipinas ay meron ng sistemang sinusunod. In fact, if you will be reading or if you'll be googling about the copper plate that was found in Laguna, makita natin dyan na ang isang raha or ang isang dato from Laguna, that's actually a testament that he was already paid his debt to Raha Sulaiman. And nangyari po, akala ng karamihan that Magellan actually, Magellan discovered the Philippines, and of course, they set foot in the Masawa Island, but the Spanish colonization didn't begin officially. They were just there to colonize the Philippines, to be under the Catholic religion. Pero, hindi pa tayo officially under the Spain. It was only official when we were conquered by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi on 1565. And Legazpi actually established a colonial government, which is led by Gobernador General, or also known as Gobernador General de Filipinas. And the Philippines was under the rule of the Spanish regime from until 1898. That will be a total of 333 years. During the Spanish period po, ang mga dato, they tried to replace it. They tried to call them as cabeza de barangay, and they appointed them as the chieftain. Yung susunod dyan, yung parang little governor, okay, para mamahala sa isang bayan or pueblo or town or municipality, is tinatawag na gobernadorcillo. Pag sinabi nating pueblo, ito po ang alam natin ngayon na town, municipality or barangay. And for example, yung alcalde mayor, siya naman yung naumuno ng alkadya. Pag sabing alkadya, ito po yung provinces na pinamumunuan ng mga Espanyol. Ito yung walang resistance. Pag mayroong resistance ng isang barangay, isang bayan o isang probinsya, tinatawag po itong korehimiento. Okay. Ang korehimiento ay pinamumunuan ng isang korehidor. Okay. So, this is an example of the early town setup. Kung makikita natin, the church is like in the center, and katapat po ng church will be the patio. Dito po tumatambay muna ang mga tao, and then this is like the plaza, and katabi po niya na schools, And katabi po niyan ay the munisipyo, or what we call as the offices of the chieftains by that time. And makikita din po natin sa, like for example, if we will be looking at some of the structures in Pasig, it is pretty evident that we have been under the Spanish regime by that time. Okay, oops, sorry for that one. And moving on. So during the Spanish era, nagkaroon din po ng mga tinatawag nating Royal Audiencia. When you say Royal Audiencia, sila po yung independent body na ginawa ng Spanish government to hear and solve cases. And ang audiences po ay in-establish sa 3 main Spanish settlement, kagaya ng Manila, Cebu, and Vigan. The rule of the Spanish was okay then until darating o papasok ngayon yung ideya na napansin ng mga early Filipinos like of Rizal that there's a lot of abuses within the Philippines. And ang gusto nila ng mga revolutionismo in particular is gusto nilang tratuhin ang Pilipinas kagaya ng pagtrato sa mga Espanyol. Kaya nga kung mapapansin natin, even Rizal didn't actually think of separating Philippines from Spain. Rizal and the other revolutionismo would only like Philippines to be under the rule of the Spanish, make it as the official province of Spain, and at the same time have the Filipino an equal right, same as the Spanish people living in Spain. Kasi doon sa Spain, ang ganda ng pamumuhay, ganda ng trato. Dito sa Pilipinas, kakaiba pong ginawa. Dahil po dyan, ang revolutionary period, again, it started with the propaganda movement headed by Jose Rizal, Marcelo H. del Pilar, Graciano Lopez Haina, and yan sinasabi ko, they advocated change on the Philippine government. And during the revolutionary period, sumusbong o itinatag yung kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan, or also known as KKK or Katipunan. It was founded by Bonifacio in 1892. Okay? And ito naman sa they actually seek revolution. They seek independence from the rule of Spain. Kakaiba sa filosofiya na pinapaniwalaan ni Rizal. Ang katipunan o binubuo, this is how they're structured. Binubuo silang katas-taasang sanggunian or Supreme Council. Ang Supreme Council po ay binubuo ng, unang-una, Presidente, Secretary, Treasurer, and Piskal. The sangguniang balangay or the Provincial Council, sila po namumuno mga probinsya kaya ng Cavite by that time, and Batangas, Laguna, or even Bulacan. And the Sangguniang Bayan, or the Popular Council, they govern the pueblo, or the town. The Sangguniang Hukuman, that become the Judicial Court, or the Judicial Council, na ang trabaho po nito ay tingnan yung mga kaso na involve yung mga katipunero by that time. Okay? Alright, and moving on to the next one. The Katipunan, actually, there was a faction with the Katipunan. There were 2 factions, namely Magdalo and Magdiwang. So, during that time, kasi nagkakaroon ng pressure internally between Magdalo and Magdiwang. Ang flag na to, this on the left will be the Magdalo, and on the right will be the Magdiwang. So, if you're familiar with the Magdalo, yeah, that's it. And they called on for the Tejeres Convention in March 22, 1897, and Aguinaldo was elected as a president by that time. So, Aguinaldo technically becomes the first president of the Philippine Republic. And papasok na po tayo sa Revolutionary Period. Sa Revolutionary Period ho, dyan po itinatagpo yung Biak na Bato, or the Biak na Bato Republic was established by Aguinaldo on November 1, 1897. So it is a constitution was declared for Philippines to become an independent state. Okay. And the Pact of Biak na Bato provided also the amnesty kasi sina Aguinaldo kasi medyo nako-corner na sila ng mga Amerikano. So what they did is they actually asked if they can actually transfer or they can actually move to Hong Kong. Kaya dahil dyan, they were exiled. The revolutionary government was exiled to Hong Kong. Ginamit po nila yung Biak na Bato, yung kanilang money by that time. The treasury was used by Aguinaldo to procure armaments and gamitin nila yun bilang way para may pangontra sa laban sa mga Amerikano. After that, if we will be noticed during the revolutionary period, so papasok na dito yung Spanish-American War in 1898. Mag-umpisa po yan sa Battle of the Manila Bay. But some historians would say that it is a mock Battle of the Manila Bay kasi hindi naman talaga totoong nagkaroon ng gera sa Manila Bay. Kasi eventually it has been planned ahead of time na ibebenta yung Pilipinas sa Amerika. On May 24, 1898, si Aguinaldo ay naglayag from Hong Kong going to Kawit, Cavite, and he established a dictatorial government. And moving on June 12, 1898, ipinideklara na Aguinaldo sa Kawit, Cavite ang kasarinlan ng Pilipinas. June 12, 1898. So, by the way pala, sa mga nagtatanong, if meron po nito, patalastas muna, commercial, kasi naglalag. Yep, meron po nitong nasa book po yan. Okay. Moving on, sorry for the interaction. So, the Malolos Congress was convened on September 15, 1898. Kaya nakagawa ng Malolos Convention or Malolos Constitution. It was the first Philippine Republic kung saan si Aguinaldo ay naging kauna-unahang presidente noong January 23, 1899. However, hindi nagtagal ang pamumuno ni Aguinaldo kasi si Aguinaldo ay mahuhuli ng mga Amerikano. By 1901, the Philippine-American War broke up. And si Aguinaldo ay nahuli nga ng American forces and that led to the American or to the Biak na Bato Republic or the Malolos Congress or Malolos Republic to be dissolved. Okay. And moving on to the next one, we now have the American period. During the American period, papasok ho yung pinaka-importante na dapat natin tanda, the Treaty of Paris. Ang Spain ho, isinuko na niya ang pamumuno sa Puerto Rico, Guam, and Philippines. And nagbayad ho ang Spain or ibinenta ng Spain yung Puerto Rico, Guam, and Pilipinas sa Amerika sa halagang $20 million. And actually, the Americans captured Manila in 1898 and isang military government ang na-establish sa Philippines sa pinamumunuan ng isang military governor. Ang Spooner Amendment ay nag-end sa military regime. Dahil po dyan, itinatag yung insular government. Ang insular government ay nasa ilalim ng pamumuno ng Bureau of Insular Affairs. Isa po siyang division ng by that time by the US Colonial Department na pamunuan yung mga territories na na-acquire nila, especially in the Asia Pacific region. So, anyway, moving on to just to wrap up kung ano nangyari, let's try to watch this Mickey Bustos video.
Mikey, aren't Filipinos practically Spanish? Excuse me? Well, you have a Spanish last name.
Oh yes, Spanish royalty, Bustos, Duke of Spain. I mean, no prank, Filipinos are not a kind of Spanish.
Oh.
In fact, check out the Philippine heroes. I'm Lapu-Lapu, machete na guapo, bold and a king, so they call me Datu. Who is that I see talking to our fellow tribesmen?
Ferdinand Magellan and his men from Spain, teaching the religion Catholic Roman. I'm now like Spanish.
Nulla Bisayan, that's the way war on Ferdinand's men. Let's kill him with our weapons. weapons here in Mach 10. Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Rialonda. Jose Rizal, almost 4 centuries still ruled by the Spanish. We're executing you, cause I'm anti-colonial. You're no limit, ang el filibusterismo. Poems cause rebellion against Spain. Oops, did I start a Spanish revolution? Ready? Consumatum est. Aim! We are the revolution, KKK. Rizal, your death won't go in vain. I'm Andres Bonifacio, Republic Tagalog, President and a great plebeian, co-founder and supremo of the Katipunan, the father of the Philippine Revolution. A secret society of Filipino militants, hopes for a Philippines free from Spain. I'm Marcela Agoncillo Simstes. I'm in Hong Kong to escape the stress. Then General Emilio Aguinaldo requested to sew a flag that best represented the Philippines. Look, oh, isn't it 20? A sun, 3 stars, there's blue and red. In accordance to General Aguinaldo's design, I'm mother of the Philippine flag, okay? Apolinario Mabini, first Prime Minister of the Philippines. Hooray, we're free! Brains of the revolution, now working government despite losing my legs to polio disease. I'm an American, we'll show you burgers, get rid of siestas and re-educate. Talk to the hand, what next? Let me guess, you wanna make Philippines a US state? General Luna, born in Manila, even if I am an Ilocano. Filipino general, fought in the Philippine-American War. Let me intro you to the Black Guard. Luna sharpshooters, the Luna defense line, they're like wall. With military science, I train these men to catch Americans like Pokemon Go. So you see, Frank, we Filipinos are not Spanish, we're not like Americans, we're not like anybody. We are our own people, independent and free. We have heroes to thank for that, and we cannot forget how we became the Philippines. Oh, that's kinda cool, Mikey. And don't ever forget it. Who is your favorite Filipino hero?
Alright, so I hope you liked that video by Mikey Bustos. So, kung makikita po natin, apparently, so that was a summation of the entire occupation of the American colonization. So, after that, during the American period, papasok na po si William Howard Taft. Siya po yung kauna-unahang civil governor ng Pilipinas. And William Howard Taft acted actually as a head of the executive branch and exercise niya rin po yung legislative power and judiciary power. So technically naging all around si Howard Taft, and all the powers of the government was centered on Howard Taft. Okay, and moving on to the next one, during the American period also, ipinasa yung tinatawag nating Philippine Organic Act, or also known as the Cooper Act. Ito po ay pinatupad noong 1902. And by that time kasi, dahil sa Philippine Organic Act, nagkaroon ng bicameral yung legislative system ng bansa. When you say bicameral, kagaya ng alam natin ngayon na binubuo ng Senate and Congress. So however, during that time, the upper house, or what we know as present day as the Senate, lahat po ng nasa upper house or Philippine Commission were all appointed. While lahat po ng nasa lower house, or also known today or currently as the Congress, is also known as a Philippine Assembly, yan po ay binuto ng mga tao. And speaking of election, noong 1907, naganap ang kauna-unahang eleksyon. Ang Jones Law, o tinatawag na Philippine Autonomy Act, siya po yung nagbigay ng opisyal na basbas para sa reorganization ng Philippine legislative system. And dyan na nabuo, dyan na formally na-recognize ang Philippine Commission as the Senate and the Philippine Assembly as the House of Representatives. And during the Tidings-McDuffie Act, or also known as the Philippine Independence Act noong 1934, na-establish ang Philippine Commonwealth. Diyan naging presidente si Manuel L. Quezon at si Sereno Osmeña bilang Vice President. Kaso, hindi naging it's not like a fairy tale that it goes in a happy ending. During the rise of the American imperialist movement, papasok din yung ngayon yung idealism ng Japanese. So Japan become one of the powerful empire in Asia. Kaya masasakop tayo dyan dahil sa Japanese occupation. Nasakop yung Manila noong January 3, 1942. Nagkaroon ng Japanese military administration muna ang humawak. In short, mga militar mula nila. And the Philippine Executive Commission, or the PEC, was the civil government that temporarily ruled the country. In fact, it was headed by George B. Vargas. Darating na po yung Second Republic noong 1943 nung i-draft ulit or binago yung Malolos Constitution natin. Nang naging 1943, the new Constitution, ito ay Japanese-sponsored. At dyan, naging presidente si Jose P. Laurel. Jose P. Laurel was served as a president during the Japanese era, but he was also considered or labeled as the puppet president or the puppet government. However, hindi nagtagal ang Japanese era. Noong July 5, 1945, MacArthur, or General Douglas MacArthur, announced the liberation of the Philippines. However, if you can see in the picture in the upper right-hand side and on the lower right-hand side, Manila was totally devastated. Manila was the second most devastated city after Poland. And nag-move on na nga. During the post-war era, binago ulit constitution natin. The Third Republic was inaugurated on July 4, 1946. We have Manuel Rojas, Elpidio Quirino, Ramon Magsaysay, Carlos P. Garcia, Diosdado Macapagal, and nung first term ni Ferdinand Marcos. Bakit first term? Kasi mamaya i-discuss ko yung bakit nagkaroon ng ibang term pa si Marcos. Punta tayo ngayon when Ferdinand Marcos declared the martial law, and that's the creation of the Fourth Republic. Noong 1969, tumakbo uli si Marcos bilang presidente kasi in the 1935 Constitution, which was patterned after the US Constitution by the Commonwealth, kasi sa US pwedeng re-election. If you've known President Barack Obama, he ran for re-election in the office and nanalo siya. So that's why Obama served 2 terms. Same with Marcos in that year, in 1969. He ran for the office again as president and he was elected. So Marcos becomes the first president in the Fourth Republic by that time. And the dates might be confusing because on September 23, Marcos actually announced nationwide through a television coverage and through radio coverage the Proclamation 1081, or also known as the Proclamation of the Martial Law. Ang martial law ay officially talagang sinign noong September 21. However, it was only announced on September 23. So, ang reason ni Marcos by that time, the reason why martial law was declared, because there was a rising, according to him, there was a rising threat coming from the communist side. And Marcos wants to put an end to the communist influence. And Marcos also wants to stop communism from spreading. And dahil dyan, ubos na ang slide. So anyway, since we don't have a lot of time, let me just okay, here is the pointers for your exam, and later on I'll be posting a quiz. So for those of you who are watching, maraming salamat sa panunood. And of course, the coverage will be the form of government, the state, the concept of state, the nation, the power, the government, the state nation, the Article 7, the executive power, the globalization, the historical development of Philippine democratic politics, the economic, political, and cultural, and we will be running or covering pages 31 to 77 of our book. So let me show you, or let me discuss in passing, the Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution. So I hope you're still with me. Alright, yeah, thank you sa patuloy at matapat na nanonood. Okay, hold on. Okay, so yeah, sorry, I was not able to finish the PowerPoint, so you can just use it. So anyway, let's move on to Article 7. So Article 7, discuss lang ho. Makinig muna. You can pause the video if you're not yet ready. But there we go. Kung may kopya kayo. So, sa Section 1, nakalagay lang po dyan na ang presidente ang may executive power. When you say executive power, nasa kanya po yung kapangyarihan na ipatupad yung batas na isinagawa or na ginawa ng legislative. Siya yung administrative side, the administration. And sa Section 2, nakalagay po dito kung ano yung requirements para maging isang pangulo. Ang unang requirement ay natural-born citizen. Okay? And yan ang issue ni Grace po. Kung makikita natin sa GR number, General Resolution number, tingnan natin yung kay Grace po ulit. Okay. And kung makikita natin kay Grace po, sa jurisprudence si Grace po, General Resolution number 221 697. So, pinabasa ko sa inyo, which is mahaba-haba to. So, ang gusto lang ipaglaban ni Grace po, because Grace po actually denounced his citizenship when he stayed in the US. And ang requirement po ng ating Constitution, at least 10 taon kang nanirahan sa Pilipinas bago ka tumakbo. And it was also the issue of the legitimacy kasi si Grace po isang ampon. So it was also questioned. And also, pagtatakbo ka isang bilang pangulo, dapat you're able to read and write, 40 years of age of the election. Kung makita natin, mas mahigpit pa ang requirement ng isang guard kaysa tumakbo bilang isang pangulo ng Pilipinas. Section 3 of the Article 7 of our 1987 Constitution, it states na ang Vice President ay may same qualifications as the President. Okay? So, same pa rin. Registered voter, able to read and write, 40 years of age, resident ng Philippines for at least 10 years. Okay. And kung ang President ay pwedeng ma-impeach, same din ang Vice President. Okay? Ang Vice President to ay pwedeng ma-appoint as a member of the Cabinet. When you say Cabinet, that's the closest heads or councils na nakapalibot sa Presidente. Once the VP or the Vice President is appointed to a particular position, hindi na po siya kailangan dumaan sa Commission on Appointment. For example, our Vice President right now is Leni Robredo. Si Robredo po ay hindi na po siya dumaan sa Commission on Appointment. Kasi lahat po, for example, si Briones, si De La Rosa dati, lahat po yan ay dumaan sa Commission on Appointment. Commission on Appointment is headed by the Congress. At dyan po, binubusisi isa-isa yung qualification supposed to be ng tatakbo bilang yung appointed na cabinet member ng gobyerno. However, Robredo by that time is an exemption because she is the Vice President. However, Robredo was appointed as the National Housing Authority Secretary, but I guess 2 years ago, nagkalabuan sila ng Duterte and Robredo actually resigned from the position. Okay? Alright. And moving on. So, Section 4, nakalagay po dito ang ating President and Vice President ho, ay they will be elected by vote. Okay? And yung kanilang opisina, they will begin in office at noon of June 30. Okay? And magtatapos din yung kanilang opisina June 30 din, noon din ng same date after 6 years. Nakalagay din po sa Article 7 Section 4 ng ating 1987 Constitution na hindi na pwedeng ma-re-elect ang presidente. So, ang tanong, no person who has succeeded as president and has served as much as more than 4 years shall be qualified for the same office at the same time. So, ibig sabihin, pag tumakbo ka ng presidente, hindi ka na pwedeng tumakbo ulit bilang presidente or vice president. Ang tanong, papaano ho pag namatay yung presidente? Or papaano pag, let's just say, presidente ay nagkasakit at he can no longer function in his executive duties. So, nakadiscuss po dito sa Section 4. Okay? So, nakikita rin natin na ang proclamation ng presidential election ay nakabase ho sa Board of Canvassers. And the Board of Canvassers by the time is actually the Senate. So, kung makikita natin, Duterte was actually proclaimed by the Senate on the 2016 election. And nagsasama po yung lower representative and ating Senate naman to proclaim the winners. Okay? So, ito nga yung sino may pinakamataas na boto. Like Duterte has 16 million votes and he was proclaimed as the president. Section 5 ng ating Section 5 ng ating Article 7. So, ito po yung dapat banggitin sa panunumpa ng presidente at vice-presidente. It says, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully and conscientiously fulfill my duties as President of the Philippines, preserve and defend its Constitution, execute its law, do justice to every man, and consecrate myself to the service of the nation, so help me God. Okay? So, sinasabi dito na, so help me God, pwede mong burahin. Depende sa religious affiliation ng isang presidente. Section 6 ng ating Article 7 ay matatagpuan po dyan yung official residence ng ating Pangulo. Ang official residence po ng ating Pangulo ay sa Malacanang. And yung ating Vice President, yung kanyang official residence po ay sa Coconut Palace. Ang salary po ng Pangulo ay dinidetermine ng kanyang mga predecessors. So in short, hindi pwedeng magtaas hindi pwedeng, for example ngayon, hindi pwedeng taasan ni Duterte ang sarili niyang sahod. Kung magagawa si Duterte ng batas or ng executive order, magiging effective lang yan sa tao o sa presidente na susunod sa kanya. So, yun lang nakalagay sa Section 6. Section 7 ng ating Article 7, the President-elect and the Vice President-elect shall assume office at the beginning of their terms. Okay? So, kaya nga mahalaga sa atin na malaman ang health condition ng Pangulo, kasi pag hindi na siya capable na maging presidente, pwede po yang maging grounds ng kanyang disqualification sa kanyang opisina. Okay, if you could notice, there was a rumor by that time that Duterte was actually sick. And Duterte actually denies that rumor. Kasi once it has been proven, he can be disqualified from his office. And papasok na dyan yung Section 8. Pag namatay, permanent disability, na-impeach, nag-resign ng presidente, ang vice president yung susunod na magiging pangulo. Halimbawa dito si Joseph Ejercito Estrada, nung siya'y napatanggal through People Power 2. Si Erap ay hindi pa natapos yung kanyang term na 6 years. So, ang nangyari, si Gloria yung sumalo ng remaining terms niya. And, let's just say, nag-resign din yung Vice President. Ang susunod ay, or namatay din yung Vice President. Ang susunod ay si Senate President. And, let's just say, wala rin si Senate President, namatay din. Ang susunod ay House, Speaker of the House. Okay? Pag wala pa rin, let's just say namatay, okay? So, the lower house or the Congress shall pass a law, okay, kung sino ang kanilang i-qualify for that time, okay? And the Congress provide who shall serve as a president in case lahat ho, permanent disability, resignation ng acting president. Sila yung kikreate ng acting president. Section 9. Whenever there is vacancy in the office of the vice president during the term he was elected, ang presidente po ay may kakayahan na mag-nominate ng vice president from the members of the Senate and House of the Representatives. Let's just say, sa Section 9, ngayon po ay merong disqualification case na i-file ni Bongbong Marcos against Leni Robredo. Let's just say natanggal o natalo si Leni Robredo sa electoral case na yon. So it means si Marcos mananalo. So from there, Marcos will become the vice president. Or let's just say si Leni Robredo ay na-impeach dahil isinama siya ngayon sa pinakakasuhan ng treason ni Duterte, pinapakasuhan ng conspiracy ni Duterte. Let's just say siya ay na-impeach. Ang mangyayari, si Duterte ay pwedeng pumili na may kanyang magiging vice president either from the Senate or from the Congress. He can choose. And kasabay po ni Duterte yan ng kanyang pag-end ng term. Okay. So, yun lang po yun. And Section 9, Section 10 naman, ang Kongreso, by 10 o'clock in the morning, on the third day of the vacancy of the office of the President and the Vice President, magko-convene sila based on the section, on paragraph 2, section 26 of the Article 6 of the Constitution. So, in short, sila ay magde-designate ng temporary na mamumuno. Section 11. Whenever the President transmits to the House of Representatives yung kanyang batas, okay? So, makita natin dito that the written declaration that is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Okay, pag sinabing, ayoko na, hindi ko na kayang gawin, o kayo na mag-decide. So, kailangan ng written request coming from the President. At saka papasok ngayon si acting President. Section 12. Sakaling nagkasakit yung President, let's just say, Duterte got sick, kailangan ipaalam sa public yung condition ng President. Hindi po dapat itago sa publiko yung health condition ng President. Let's just say, nagkasakit si Duterte, for example. Ang mamumuno ngayon, yung mga cabinet secretaries niya. And they will be in charge of the national security and foreign relations. And yung chief of staff niya, of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, shall not be denied access to the President during such illness. Halimbawa, nagka-diarrhea si Duterte or nakoma si Duterte. So, ayun. Ang mangyayari noon, hindi sina Briones, sino ba ngayon? Sina Aquino ng NFA, sila po yung temporary na mamumuno sa bansa. And then, titingnan ngayon ng Armed Forces Secretary or Chief of Staff, si Duterte from time to time, kung fit na ba siyang mamuno. Sample lang yun, kung nagkasakit yung Pangulo. Okay? So, in short, it's a big issue of disclosing the President's health. Hindi po yan violation ng privacy ng isang presidente, ng isang tao, to disclose his health condition, but rather, it is mandated on Section 12, Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution. Kaya yun ang pinaglalaban ng kasagsagan na mainit yung issue kay Duterte na siya ay may sakit. Section 13. Ang presidente, vice president, ang miyembro ng kanyang mga kabinete, okay, they cannot hold any office or employment during tenure. Let me give you an example. Tony Bonlocsin and Briones, actually. Briones, the Secretary of DepEd, is actually a professor at UP Diliman. Upon her appointment as the Cabinet Secretary for Education, or the Secretary of Education, Briones actually needs to resign from her teaching position. So, halimbawa ako, maging presidente ako ng Pilipinas, hindi ako pwedeng maging teacher at the same time maging presidente. Kasi that's a strict violation of the Section 13, Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution. Section 14. Mahaba pa to. So, ayan na, wag niyo akong tulugan. Comment down below kung buhay pa kayo. Very good. Wow. Salamat sa mga nakikinig. Okay. Shoutout pala kay Sir Andrew. Okay. Alright. So, anyway. So, Section 15. May kita natin dito na, or rather, Section 14. May kita natin dito na the acting president shall remain effective unless revoked by the president within 90 days from his resumption of the office. Let's just say, kasakit si Duterte. And then, let's just say, sinabi niya, sige, Bongo, ikaw lang muna maging presidente ko. Bongo can be the president of the Philippines. And it can be revoked within 90 days. Section 15. 2 months before the next presidential election, hindi na po pwedeng mag-appoint ang Pangulo. Tinatawag natin itong midnight appointment. If you know the case of ayun, may mga buhay pa pala. So, ayun, halimbawa si Corona, do you know Renato Corona? During the time of Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So, Renato Corona actually was an example of a midnight appointment. Kasi bago mag-election, 2 months, it's a big no-no for the president to appoint a new head. That's why si Corona ay in-impeach. The Chief Justice is impeachable. I-discuss natin in our later topic. Section 16. Ito yung sinasabi ko nga, ang presidente ay may kakayahang mag-nominate ng mga cabinet secretaries. For example, the PWH Secretary, Mark Villar, DepEd Secretary, Briones, and so on. Delfin Lorenzana as our Armed Forces or National Security Council Advisor. So, pwedeng mag-appoint si Duterte, for example, pero hindi po pwede na siya yung mag-decide. Ang magde-decide nun kung qualified ba siya o hindi ay ang Commission on Appointment. Okay? So, dyan po lahat ng executive department, ambassador, public ministers, consuls, naval captain, lahat po ay dadaan sa Commission on Appointment. Ang Commission on Appointment ay binubuo ng Congress. Okay? Section 17. Ang presidente ho ay may control sa executive department, bureaus, and offices. Let me give an example. CIDG of the Philippine National Police also under the Office of the President. Ano ba ba? DILG. The DILG, the Department of Interior and Local Government, is under the Office of the President. MMDA is under the Office of the President. Kaya makikita nyo sa balita ngayon, yung clearing operation na isinagawa. So, makikita natin, nung sinabi ni Duterte na clear the sidewalks, ang ginawa ni DILG, sinabi niya, lahat ng mga mayor, kung hindi kayo tutupad, isuspend kayo. Because DILG, the Department of Interior and Local Government, which is the PNP is under DILG, is under the executive branch. Okay? Alright. And Section 18 ng ating 1987 Constitution. Section 18 ng Article 7. Ang ating Pangulo ho ay tinatawag na Commander-in-Chief ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Kinakailangan that this is actually, he's the Commander-in-Chief. That means the highest ranking personnel sa AFP. In case nagkaroon ng invasion tsaka rebellion, okay, so, ang Pangulo ho ay may na just nagkagulo sa Pilipinas, lilusob tayo ng Abu Sayyaf or ng ISIS. Ang Pangulo ho ay pwedeng mag-declare ng suspension ng privilege of the writ of habeas corpus. Ano po yung writ of habeas corpus? Or pwedeng mag-declare yung Pangulo ng martial law since he is the commander-in-chief. Pag may martial law, may suspension ng writ of habeas corpus. Ngayon kasi, hindi ka pwedeng basta-basta damputin ng mga pulis at ng militar. Kasi, pwede mong kasuhan ng illegal detention ang mga pulis at militar. Halimbawa, ngayon, kunyari, for example, si Ralph San Juan, di ko alam paano nakuha ni Ralph yung link. Kunyari, si Ralph ay pinagdiskitahan na sinabi na siya ay tulak ng shabu sa Kapasigan. hindi po siya basta-basta hulihin o damputin ng walang warrant of arrest. So, kailangan may warrant of arrest para siya ay dakpin. Okay? And, however, during the martial law, for example, during the Marawi martial law or the martial law in Mindanao, pag sinabing the writ of habeas corpus was suspended, ibig sabihin, kung sino yung trip ng militar na hulihin, pwede nilang hulihin. Pwede nilang ikulong. At yun ang nangyari sa martial law sa panahon ng Marcos. And it was, mind you, it was subject for a lot of human rights abuses. Okay. Ang Supreme Court, for the check and balances, kung gusto pang i-extend within 90 days, okay, yung martial law, so pwede pong si Congress yung magde-decide. The Congress shall decide whether the martial law is worth it or not. Ito po yung nangyari sa Marawi natin, sa Mindanao martial law. And si Supreme Court, pwede niyang i-declare na invalid yung declaration ng martial law. Kasi executive, your decision to declare martial law is not right. It is unconstitutional. Once the Supreme Court declared it's unconstitutional, pwedeng ma-void yung martial law declaration. Section 19 ng ating Article 7 ng 1987 Constitution. So, ang Pangulo ho ay pwedeng magbigay ng pardon, presidential clemency. Okay? Let's just say, mag-lift ng sanction, mag-lift ng fine sa isang tao. Okay? Kaya nga, may tinatawag ng presidential clemency na ginagawa every December na may pinapalaya kung sino man. So, if you could recall, for example, in the case of Antonio Trillanes na naging issue dati, Antonio Trillanes was a recipient of a clemency under Ninoy Aquino. Kaya nga, in-invalidate yun ng Malacanang by that time kasi sinabi na hindi daw officially na-declare or na-file yung clemency o yung presidential pardon ni Trillanes. Kaya si Trillanes by that time ay gustong ipahuli. Okay? Alright. And kaway-kaway dyan. Alright, malapit na tayo sa oras. So, eto na, malapit na tayo. So, Section 20. The President may contract or guarantee foreign loans on behalf of the Republic of the Philippines with the prior concurrence of the Monetary Board and subject to such blah 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 and yada yada. Ano ibig sabihin? If you could notice during the Build program of Duterte actually borrowed money from China. Duterte with the Build program, wala tayong panggastos Ang daming gustong mangyari ng gobyerno natin. It is good actually. There's no problem with that one. It's good because with that mas gagaan yung buhay natin. However, the big question is saan tayo kukuha ng pera? That comes in the Section 20. Ang Pangulo ay pwedeng pumunta, kaya mayroong mga official visit ng Pangulo sometimes to get businesses, business pledge, grants mula sa iba't ibang bansa. So, pwede pong gawin ng Pangulo yan. Section 21 ng ating Article 7. Okay. So, wala pong international agreement ang valid at effective unless binoto yan ng 2/3 ng members ng Senate. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin po niyan? So, halimbawa, nag-enter tayo ng, let me give you an example. During the Climate Change Summit in Paris, panahon ni Aquino, actually, Aquino promised or pledges that Philippines will reduce its carbon emission into, I forget the percentage. And yes, it was approved by the Senate. But later on, Duterte vowed to stop that pledge kasi hindi naman doon natin kaya. But anyway, yun ang nangyari. Section 22, yes, dalawa na lang. So the President shall submit to the Congress within 30 days from the open regular session. Ano yung mga appropriation bill niya? Budget, expenditure, finances, and revenue measures. In short, kailangan mag-submit si Presidente Duterte ng budget niya to the Congress. Si Congress kasi mag-approve niyan. And Section 22 is also known as the or papasok Section 23. Mag-a-address ngayon yung Pangulo ng Pilipinas sa regular session ng Congress. Ito ang kilala nating SONA or State of the Nation Address. Okay. All right, so I hope that you understood the 23 sections ng ating Article 7 ng 1987 Constitution. Just to remind again everyone, yung salamat sa pakikinig by the way. Ang inyong coverage ho ay form of government, the definition of state, nation, power, government, state, nation. The Article 7, the entirety of Article 7, the globalization, the historical development of the Philippine democratic politics. And ito po ay magka-cover from pages 31 to 77 of your book. Again ho, sa mga nakinig at walang sawang nakinig at nagtiyaga, thank you so much for your time, and I hope that you'll pass the exam. Okay? And see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye for now.